Hey guys, welcome to the weekly analysis video. Today's date is the 18th of March 2018 and we're going to be looking at the pairs we're looking to trade this week. I'll give you a quick rundown on what happened last week and then what we expect to see happen this week and how we plan to get into those trades. And we're going to kick things off by looking at USD JPY. We formed this pretty strong support from a touch there, rejected, almost touches here that were rejected, and then a third that got rejected here. This one actually with a gap up as well, which is quite nice to see. We then had the fourth touch down here before we retraced and actually broke through it. And that's a daily support at the 108.42 mark. And recently in the last couple of weeks we actually broke through that support. Came down and made a new low, which after we retraced and came down again held, and we bounced back up from here again. We then created a new lower high, pretty much on the 107 even mark, before heading back down to our low down here at the 105.57 and retracing back up again. This gave us a few ideas for end of last week trades where we expected to see another bounce from this support here, back up to the 107 even, or even up to the long-term MA, which actually comes back to the daily support. And one of the interesting things, if we zoom out, this is the daily support formed by the touch there and another one here. And since we broke it, we've never actually come back up to retest it. And considering it was such a strong break here, we had still too many sellers jumping in for us to get up and test it again, so I'd actually expect to see this come up and out and test it before we head down further. So with that in mind, our idea from the end of last week is still going to be in place. We'll go down to the 1 hour and you'll be able to see this a little bit better. We predicted the price would come down to the support line. As you can see, it did almost touch. It just about missed my alert here, so I didn't actually see it. But then as expected, it came up and is retraced back down to this level that we drew out here. This was actually drawn out before any of this price happens. This is just where we expected it to get to, based on the previous lows here, as these are obviously going to act as support. And after we've retraced to there, we're actually expecting to see price come back up to where we've got these highs. And that was going to be our intraday trade idea. However, now we can look to get long when we bounce from here. First set of take profits at the 106.28 mark. Maybe the second lot up at the 106.62, and then 107 is going to be next pretty much for the rest of your targets. As you can see, the market has just opened anyway, and we've gapped lower and are heading down, which is fine. We're going to leave it because it's obviously the Asian session now. We don't really trade the Asian session because it's much harder. We'll wait for London to open up tomorrow morning. Once London shows us which way it wants to go, hopefully it's going to be to the upside, and then we can use one of our entries to get long on this and take it all the way back up to 107. Of course, if it does break these lows now and break the lows here, so let's say that it breaks the 105.86 mark, then I wouldn't look to short, but I would also give that as your sort of zone to not go long. If we break below there, don't be going long, and also don't look to get short until we break our support zone at the 105.57 mark. Once we break here, you can definitely look to go short on the retracement back up again. So let's say that instead we actually had price, instead of coming back to here and then heading up, it comes down. It would probably do something like this and then break that, wait for it to come back up, enter here, and then we can get short further down. But the trade that we're favoring right here is definitely going to be the USD JPY long. So now over to GBP USD, and what we can see here is that actually we had these trend lines that were drawn out from a long time ago. We've been moving up in this uptrend. We have this line here which should actually be a lot bolder because this was our low after the Brexit move. So you get a nice big bold line. This was Brexit, obviously. These were the highs that we consolidated around. We came through the trend and broke to the upside quite explosively, but we've recently hit the lows here for Brexit, or the pre-Brexit consolidation, and that actually lines up with this high right here, and ever since we got rejected from there we've been heading down. But super recently we've sort of come back up again. You can see it in this area that we have here. We've been rejected off the 139.99 mark, so pretty much the 140 mark a lot. Price is finding it really hard to break and stay above here. Both times it's tried, it's failed. And really for the last 3 or 4 days we've just been consolidating around this area. So what we're going to want to see before we actually go and look to trade this is either a break above the 139.99 / 140 even mark. If we see price come above there, so something like this, it's probably going to be a quite explosive move to begin with. It will retrace, so don't enter just too soon. When we get the retrace, of course, you could then look to get long. Take profits are going to be obviously on an intraday basis. You're probably going to be going for the high here at the 140.95. That would give you about a 100 pip move. But of course, if you wanted to swing trade, then the highs from the last time we broke are there, which is going to be the 141 and 142 even mark really, with a high print of 143.5. However, this isn't really the play that I'm favouring. I don't think GBP's got enough strength to actually break the 140 mark at the moment. So actually what I'm expecting to see this week is instead we're probably going to come back down, break the lows that we formed last week here. And once we break that, it should be nice and clear all the way down to 138.12 or 138 even maybe if you can break through the lows there. And then as we've seen every time we've hit here so far, we have found buyers. So we might find buyers to come back up, but that short play to begin with is pretty much all we can be looking for. If we get down there really quickly, who knows, we might get there within the first couple of days. Then we can look for another break of these lows at the, say, 137.60, 137.50 mark. And once we break there, obviously you can see we had a clear move all the way up. It'll be a nice clear move all the way down. And that will take us down through 136 even, down to the 135.84 mark. However, obviously this much isn't going to happen in a week. We're just going to focus on this one that we said about before, breaking the lows of last week's one-day candles. So if we go down onto the hourly time frames, get a better look at that, what we can actually see is just pretty much this entire zone there has just been consolidation. Even down to there, I'd say it's all just been some pretty bad consolidation, trying to break above the highs but couldn't do it. Still finding buyers every time we drop. However, it's obviously equally matched by sellers every time, and recently they've jumped in pretty hard. To me, this doesn't look like buyers taking control again. It just looks like we've had a retracement from some buyers picking up the bottom here. But I don't really think that's anything to be worried about. We're very likely just going to come back down. 139.15 being our first point to actually take some profit due to our consolidation here, which is going to cause some support. Next up, we have the 139 even mark, which is obviously going to be some more support. So pretty much anywhere in this zone here is going to be our take profit that's going to be happening, because price could just turn around in here very easily. There's a lot of support to be found. You're going to find a lot of buys, just like we noticed last time. However, what I'm actually kind of expecting is that anyone who was buying here last time, expecting this to be the bottom and that price was going to come up and break, their take profits aren't going to have been down here. They might have had a few there, but most people's take profits are going to be all the way up here, where the high is and above. So anyone who's bought and prices come up, as soon as we drop through and come down here, we're just going to be trailing and taking out everyone's stop losses that have bought. And that could cause us to just clear the zone completely and carry on to the downside. So my advice is, if you're going to short this, you're fine all the way down to this green zone. As soon as you're in here, you need to just watch the trade closely. If it starts to head back up, either take your profits or move your stops to break even, whatever it is you want to do to secure the trade. But if we do just see a complete flush through this zone, then definitely look for even further downside potential. Another great place is obviously going to be the 138.68 mark, which is just here, due to our support and resistance that we have around this area there. And of course for you swing traders, there's the 138.10 mark / 138 even mark all the way down at the bottom. So just to summarise, we're expecting to see this retracement come down. We can look to short from here as soon as we get an entry. I'm looking for a break of this green line here for an entry. Taking profits in this zone somewhere. That's a very small move obviously, so my second extended take profits are going to be at the second green line here. Expecting to run the stop loss of buyers that bought at this low. And then if we actually come down to here and retrace back up, I'll probably look for a second entry to take price back down to our 138 even mark. The point of invalidation for buying is obviously if we can break the last high, which is just over here. If we break 139.68, buys are off the table. Definitely be looking to sell up in this area. In there, in our little orange rectangle, there's super strong resistance as you can see. So if we do start the week strong and we come up here, look to sell in this area. And if we break it, then of course, as I said earlier, we'll be in the 140 mark. And so we can look for this play where we come back for a retracement and then head upwards. We've got the opposite side of the coin here on Euro USD, as we can see. We had this red zone marked out from, if we scroll out, we had a head and shoulders over here, caused resistance, resistance held over here. We broke through it and flushed through completely. Of course, came down to find support, and then each time that we've come back down here, we've been rejected and buyers have jumped in. We've been pushing up, and rather than the sellers pushing down hard, they've sort of just been pushing it down to where the buyers were in the first place. And we happen to be sat right above this zone now. So really we're going to be wanting to buy when we break the high from Friday, which is about the 123.34 mark. Until we break that, we can't be looking for a high because it's just going to be consolidation zone, as you can see. Every time we've been in here, it's just been consolidation, so don't look to buy or sell in here. However, as soon as we break that, you can look to buy up to where we've got this support here, which is at the 124.44 mark. And of course we've got the high print all the way up at the 125.24 mark. That gives you 125 even in the middle, which as we know gives us basically a kill zone in this area to take all of our profits. But if we do break here, then we know it's going to be a nice explosive breakout to the upside. You can either look to hold into that to, get some extra pips from it, but usually I try not to do that. I'll take most of my profits and maybe leave a small amount open for it to carry on, and then just move my stop loss up to just below here. Our point of invalidation obviously for the buys is if we break this low down here, which is the 122.10 mark / 122 even. If we do break anywhere here, then we turn from a buyer into a seller. However, I personally wouldn't really look to sell until we break out of this red zone completely. I'd want to see price come all the way down through the red zone, which who knows, it could consolidate here or it could break straight through like it did before. I would expect consolidation, but either way I wouldn't trade in here anyway. I would wait for it to come down, retrace back up to test it, exactly like it did over here, and then head down further. Of course, as we said, not the preferable play for this week. It would take probably more than a week anyway to do that, especially if it consolidates in this zone. So this week, definitely look for the break of Friday's high. Take it all the way up to the 122.44 resistance. Use the orange zone to take most of your profits, and then maybe keep a little bit open for if we break all the way through here. But this should be a good one to watch. It might be a little bit quiet on Monday. We of course have the 3 moving averages all about to touch each other here. Usually that would signify a reversal in trends, but looking at the RSI, we're pretty much flat bang in the middle. So we're not overbought, we're not oversold, and we're sat on the support, which tells me that actually the trend isn't really about to reverse. We're just going to carry on in this uptrend that we're already in. And of course, if we zoom out on a very big level here, then you can see that all we have here was the low and the massive drop that we had here. And this looks to be just recovering. We had a massive run up, then we dropped and consolidated a bit, but we just carried on up. That's all we're doing again, and then we'll probably get up even further. So those are the 3 main pairs we're going to be looking at: USD JPY, GBP USD, and Euro USD. I might look at some others during the week, but usually that's an on-the-spot analysis type thing where some news comes up or just a nice pattern comes up that someone points out, and then we'll go and look to trade that. But these are the 3 that I've got written down that we actually have stuff backed up for to get into a trade this week.